Everywhere I go, I find myself faced with the same question. The question that has become the bane of my existence. The question that haunts me day and night, waking and sleeping. So, what are you doing after you graduate? Stammering, nervous glancing around the room, stuttering as I try to eloquently phrase the harsh, brutal, yet so inescapable truth. Well, I don't actually quite know yet. After experiencing this exchange more times than I'd like to remember, I'd like to ask, why are people constantly driven to interrogate me about my future? Why is there such a stigma about me being unsure about my career plans? And most importantly, why is it expected that at 16, I have my whole life figured out? Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges, faculty, and students, all of you have been or will be in my very predicament. Close to graduating high school, stressed, sleep-deprived, trying so hard to be that well-rounded student wanted by universities and colleges. Yet ironically, totally unsure of which program to apply to and which career path to take. Scary, isn't it? So many decisions, so little time. My bedroom, littered with university magazines. I'm even a little bit ashamed to admit that I own a copy of Universities for Dummies. Well, you're like me. I'm here to debunk some common misconceptions. And contrary to popular belief, it isn't actually all that bad if you don't know what you want to do with your life yet. Myth number 1. To be successful, you need to get it right on the first try. Einstein, Ronald Reagan, Julia Child, Brad Pitt, and Jesus. What do all of these people have in common? Well, they all switched careers at least once before finding the right one for them. Einstein worked in a post office. President Reagan was an actor. Julia Child, a spy in the CIA, and Brad Pitt, a limo driver for strippers. Even Jesus was a carpenter before switching to being mankind's biblical savior. So don't worry. You too can be successful no matter how many tries it takes. Myth number 2. In the long run, it's better if you follow your childish dreams. Paradoxically, I had no doubt in my mind when asked about my career aspirations as a child. At 4, I announced that I was going to be a vet who also happened to be a professional piano player. At 6, I wanted to be a food critic and a chef, and those of you who know me can attest to how badly that one would have turned out. At 9, I returned to my love of animals and proclaimed that I was going to be a dog trainer who taught dogs tricks for shows. So, why have I let you in on this cute, yet pretty embarrassing part of my past? Well, I'd like to ask you all why we are not encouraged to change our minds. Why was I met with condescension and disapproval when I announced that the dreams of my youth had gone to the wayside along with my toy plastic stethoscope now in the dump? Wow. I hope the people in my very predicament would be encouraged and supported. Breaking the news to my parents and teachers that I didn't actually want to go into sciences was one of the hardest conversations I have ever had to have. In my opinion, it really shouldn't have to be. Myth number 3. High school grads are mature enough to know their futures. Patrick Sullivan, president of Workopolis, was quoted as saying, "As children, we think with our hearts. Then later, as adults, we think with our heads." Why is it that at 16, I find myself plagued by only thinking with my head? Should I really be? Studies show that teenagers' brains do not stop developing until around the age of 21. If I'm not mature enough to have a fully developed brain, why is it expected that I'm mature enough to have the next 50 years of my life figured out? The reality is that most of us here today will be doing something vastly different from what we anticipate. The average person switches careers, not jobs, but actual careers, 3 to 5 times in their lifetime. I'd like to ask all of you this. How many people do you know that are presently doing what they thought they would be when they were our ages? Statistically, this number would be pretty small. I'd like to see a change in the way we look at our futures. We don't need to grow up as fast as we are. We don't need to be cornered or pressured into a career we're not totally sure about. Let your time in university be spent finding yourself. Absolutely no one should ever look down on those who are unsure about their futures, because chances are you will be too at some point. Thank you.